Hi, my name is Rachel Hicks, and I'm a speech-language pathologist from Building Blocks Therapy. Today we'll be talking about technology and early language development, so the effects of technology on early language and how to best use technology in a positive way. We'll start off talking about the different types of language. The first is receptive language. That's what the child hears and what they understand. So can they follow directions? The second type is expressive language. That's what the child says. So do they put words together to make sentences? What vocabulary do they use? And the third is pragmatic language, and that's what you think of as social skills, that interaction between two communication partners. Okay, now we'll jump right in and talk about the recommendations of technology use from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the reasons behind those recommendations. The first recommendation is no screen time prior to children 18 months of age and very limited screen time for children 18 months to 2 years old. The second recommendation is that for children between the ages of 2 to 5, screen time should be limited to 1 hour per day, and that screen time should be active. Active screen time means it's purposeful and time that is shared with an adult. So this way a child and an adult can engage and converse as the child is watching or playing. The third recommendation is that children should have designated media-free times and locations. A media-free time may be at mealtime, and a media-free location could be in the bedroom or in the car. Now we'll quickly talk about the why behind these recommendations. So one reason is that research has found children under 18 months have shown an increased risk of developing language delays, specifically delays in expressive language when watching screens for 30 minutes a day or longer. In addition, children between the ages of 2 to 5 who watched 2 hours of screen time per day were found to have lower communication scores than their peers. For all young children, greater amounts of screen time use resulted in decreased attention spans, and in preschoolers, there was also findings of reduced impulse control. These can all affect learning in the classroom and outside of the classroom. Here are some other reasons to limit your child's technology use. One is that screen time is addicting and can quickly reinforce negative behavior if the child is being given a screen to calm them down. For example, if a child is crying in a store and is given an iPad to stop the crying, we've just rewarded their unwanted behavior and they will likely repeat this behavior again. Finally, there's lots of research that shows screen time negatively affects sleep patterns. For example, a child may have more difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep after evening screen time use. There's a great resource at healthychildren.org/media use plan. This resource allows you to select a child's age range and determine the amount of media you plan on your child viewing, times and places when not to view, and what activities you plan to do instead of using screens. Now that we've talked about reasons to limit technology use, we can discuss ways to use technology in a positive way. One of the best ways to use technology, as I mentioned earlier, is engaging in active screen time. A study by Geist in 2012 found that co-viewing and guided exploration resulted in children showing greater engagement and learning and understanding of what's being viewed. So using screens as a tool can increase a child's engagement and interest. So while active screen time is ideal, in reality it will not happen all of the time. So I'd like you instead to think about times before and after screen use. So by discussing what show your child would like to watch before and after the show, talking about what happened and relating it to their experiences will provide that positive engagement desired by active viewing. So next, studies have shown that there are benefits of some specific slower-paced educational media, including Sesame Street shows and some PBS apps. Many of these other recommended apps have been found to focus on rote academic learning rather than interactive learning, which is important for communication and language development. PBS also has some great recommendations on their website about ways to engage with your child even outside of media. Another positive way to use media is to replace animated shows with audio picture books. So, reading books is incredibly beneficial to your child's learning. One important benefit of reading picture books is that the child's imagery development, so able to picture what they're reading, occurs when they listen to words and imagine the story in their minds. When given animation through stories and shows, children are given the images rather than developing the skill. And this imagery development is really important for their future reading skills. Here's a list of other ways to use technology in a positive way that will encourage communication and language development. So, recording your child telling stories about a drawing that they've made and then listening to it after. Using video chat to talk with family members is always a great way to use technology. Using pictures to create their own stories. So, taking a bunch of pictures and then printing them and putting them in a line to make a story. Taking a photo scavenger hunt, making a list of things the child has to find inside the house or outside. Taking photos of your child's creations or activities such as buildings, crafts, playing dress up, going on the playground, and then looking at them later and relating anything that they've done to current and past events. And finally, showing them how to use technology as a tool. So, for example, if your child is very interested in dinosaurs, use technology, use the media to look up dinosaurs and a video about dinosaurs and talk about the different kinds of dinosaurs and which dinosaur is their favorite and why they like that dinosaur. So, there are lots of ways to use technology in a positive, engaging way that will support your child's learning and language development. Here's a great resource from the Hannon Center website that looks at the many learning opportunities children are given by participating in conversations as recommended with those active screen times. And finally, here's a list of activities that don't require the use of technology. These are all activities that you can do with your children to help develop their language and increase those communication skills. The first thing is to just talk about everything, everywhere. At the grocery store, at the park, at Target, at the store, you can talk about what foods you're going to buy, what they look like, what they will taste like, how they feel, what you're going to cook with the specific foods. At Target, talking about what toys they like and why and what they could do with them. Reading, again, is one of the very most important things you can do to help develop their language and pre-literacy skills. Crafts are great for sequencing and developing their imagination and following directions. Camping supplies are fun. Kids' magazines they can learn and talk about. Doing a puppet show, playing with Play-Doh, getting some building, science, and engineering sets, going outside on bikes and scooters and playgrounds, doing obstacle courses outside with hula hoops and slides and running back and forth between trees. Board games are a great way to work on turn taking and following directions for some of our older kids and requesting. And then finally, give yourself permission to let your child be bored. Boredom can increase a child's creativity and problem-solving skills because it allows them to entertain themselves. So this is the end of today's presentation. I hope you enjoyed watching and learned some ways to build your child's language and use technology in a positive way. Thanks so much for watching.